Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'd like to go back to the high-spirited reflections and keep with that tone and talk about the forthcoming royal visit.
Good.
And Mr. Brady, I'm hoping you might be able to update us on where the arrangements are at for the visit by the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, and whether you can confirm whether young Prince George will be accompanying them.
I'll be wary of announcing anything, Senator.
I would be if I was in your position as well.
I think I will leave it to Kensington Palace to make the announcement and to inform the public who comprises the royal party. What I can say is that we've had a very successful reconnaissance led by the Duke and Duchess's private secretaries, and we're looking forward to the visit. It's an extensive visit. My office will be very involved, and we'll ensure that the Duke and Duchess are properly looked after.
So can you just confirm the dates for us while you're here?
Senator, the question really should go to Sir Hoss in PM&C. They have the responsibility.
Yeah, just referring then to your comments about extensive reconnaissance, what can we expect in terms of where the royal party might visit in Australia?
Again, I'd suggest that you direct the question to the Assistant Secretary of Sir Hoss, who will be the Commonwealth Director of the visit, and he may be in a better position than me to fill you in.
Of course, the royal visit happens 60 years after the Queen first visited Australia, and if I might just give a plug, just in case you are in discussions, you know, the Queen in 1954 did visit Kalgoorlie-Boulder, did visit Busselton, Albany, Northern York, and of course departed Australia from Fremantle. So Western Australia is on the tour. But if I could go to a more serious matter, and I just want to discuss whether or not the media reports that the Governor-General had offered her resignation on the basis of a perception around conflicts of interest with Mr Shorten, who was elected the Leader of the Opposition. Can you just confirm that that was the case? There are some media reports here, Mr Brady. I'm just keen to understand whether or not that is a fact.
It is a fact, Senator, and she did so out of an abundance of caution, so that the Prime Minister knew that she placed the integrity of her office above all else. It is a fact.
Great, thanks very much. Can you just share with us what is that process? Does the Governor-General write to the Prime Minister, so she's have a conversation with the Prime Minister? Is that thinking conveyed by you to Prime Minister's staff? What's the mechanics around that?
In this instance, it was conveyed by myself to the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff.
And then the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff conveyed back to you the Prime Minister's view.
That's correct.
That it wouldn't be
that's
that it wouldn't be necessary. And I think the Prime Minister was very, very generous in his remarks about the way that the Governor-General had been conducting herself in the role, if the media reports are to be believed.
That's quite correct, Senator. I've seen the Prime Minister with the Governor-General on several occasions. He's always been extremely courteous and respectful of her and the position.
I note your comments in the, and many Australians, I might add, many Australians, including myself, would agree that this Governor-General has conducted herself in a manner in which they would expect any Governor-General to conduct themselves. And of course, there's no reason to doubt that the Governor-General designate will do anything other than that, and I think comes from a very, very strong background when it comes to public service and public courtesy. In your comments, you talked about, the Governor-General acting in a dignified way. In your comments then about her decision to, raise the perception issue, and obviously she's done it in a very, very sensitive way, so she's alert to issues of perception. You talked about her requirement or regard to abundant caution and the integrity of her role. So it was a surprise to us then to hear that in the Boyer lecture she would have in the minds of many people, including myself, she would abandon that caution, abandon the great care around integrity and perception, and make a comment on what are two very, very sensitive public issues. And it's not the merits of those issues that are important, but a decision was taken to trespass, if you like, into public commentary on very, very significant issues that are under active discussion in our country. Did the Governor-General take that decision herself? Did she consult with staff? What is the drafting process around that speech? Perhaps you could illuminate us on how we got to those statements at the end of the Boyer lecture.
Thanks, Senator. They were the Quinton Bryce Boyer lectures. The process was that in 2009, Maurice Newman invited her as the then chair of the ABC to deliver the Boyer lectures. I and others felt that early in her term it wasn't appropriate to accept that invitation, and each year it was re-extended. By the time the Governor-General was interested in accepting the invitation, her term ordinarily would have been completed. So the Boyer lectures are always given in November. Her term was due to finish in September, and it was by mutual agreement of the then Prime Minister and the Governor-General that her term was extended by the 6 months. You'll recall that Prime Minister Gillard had effectively announced the election date at the National Press Club, and the Governor-General and the Prime Minister made the decision that it was best that her term be extended by the half year. By this stage, the invitation to deliver the Boyers had been locked in, and the Governor-General really set out, I suppose, to distill what 50 years in public life and a legal career, what she had learned. Ms. Bryce spent a long time thinking and reflecting and drafting her speeches. And the two references that you make were 2 paragraphs of a 4-part lecture series. I think it's not up to me to elaborate on the words, and I just refer you to the Prime Minister's own comments the day after those remarks were given coverage to, and I quote the Prime Minister, "It's more than appropriate for the Governor-General approaching the end of her term to express a personal view on a number of subjects." That's what she was doing. She was expressing a personal view, and as you would expect from Quinton Bryce, she did it with grace and style. I can't really add much beyond that.
The Prime Minister was very generous and gracious in his remarks. I think we'd all agree that. My point's a simple one. I'm not going to labour it, but I think it has. I think the point is well understood by people, even if they don't agree with my position. By your own admission, for a number of years, the Boyer lecture people had been offering an invitation to the Governor-General. It may well have been appropriate to delay that, so there would have been an opportunity. By your own admission, distilling 50 years of her public life and experience is a very, very worthy, activity. Doing it in the position of the highest person in that role, which by your own admission and by extension, if I may, her understanding is one which requires abundant caution, great sensitivity to the political role. And what I struggled with was that in October last year, there was a clear understanding of the sensitivity of that role. And while still in the office, that sensitivity for a moment was lost. I won't labour the point, but thank you for your cooperation, Mr Brady.
Thank you, Senator Smith.